What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Gould's Gaming and Tech channel. We have the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 right here. Now, it's been almost exactly 5 months since this originally came out. A little bit longer, a couple days longer than 5 months, but I like to give a long-term review on certain products just to see how it holds up. People primarily use their phones every single day, so it's one thing to do a 1 week or 2 week review. Obviously, the hype is still at its maximum, at its peak, and everybody's talking about it. People could still, be kind of blind to the nostalgia and the hype around the device or whatever it is. I like to let some time go by, live with that device for a little bit, and give a honest feedback, at least for a long-term review. As always, we have Spider-Man right here. He is my official co-host on this channel, if you don't know, and he's my official timekeeper. He likes to keep me on point, make sure I keep these videos short and sweet, get you guys from point A to point B as quick as possible without wasting any of you guys' time. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe if this information was helpful, and if you're new or returning, make sure to hit that like button. It's definitely appreciated. That's how I and YouTube knows that you guys enjoy this kind of content. Again, like I said, this is the Z Fold 5. This came out August 11th of 2023. It was nice. I was looking forward to going back to this from iPhone 14 Pro Max that I had. This was a nice kind of step back into the world of Samsung and Galaxy. When this initially launched, it was $1,800. Now that price is too freaking high. I know the profit margin for Samsung is ridiculous when it comes to phones and just any business in general. Obviously, they're in the business to make money. They're more than likely getting what they wanted for the phone originally. Yeah, Samsung does these, pretty generous trade-in offers, but say you get $800 to $1,000 for your trade-in, you're still paying about $800 to $1,000 for the phone. So that's probably what they really wanted for the phone in the first place, and for the people who pay full price, that's just extra money in Samsung's pocket. So I say all that to say the price is too high. When we go to customization, I do like the widgets on here. That is one of the best things that I like on here. That's just a little picture I took earlier, but that is one of the best things that I like on here, how you can customize all the widgets. You can change the transparency of the widget. You can customize your message chat. You can change the theme of your device when it comes to colors and backgrounds. Like, for example, all this is custom based on the color palette theme of the phone. So that is very cool. And then how you receive notifications, you can customize that as well. You can customize the lock screen clock, the main clock. I mean, you can customize so much things. So next thing is the camera. To me, the cameras are decent to good. You get up to 30 times zoom, which I don't know many people who are using zoom that much, but you have that option. I mean, you see some details here. I guess if you're looking in the sky, something in the distance, let's move Spidey really quick. I mean, you can get really up close and personal, but are you really using 30 times zoom? Because obviously the quality is not going to be the best, but it's there if you need it. You do have some kind of CPU remastering after every photo. The camera quality to me, it's okay again, but your computer in here is doing some work. When you take a picture, it's kind of processing that photo a little bit after you take that picture, so it's kind of helping the cameras appear to be a little bit better than what they are, which is completely fine. To me, I think the iPhone still has the best camera in the game as far as everything you can do. Yeah, you can go crazy with the camera settings in here. Got hyperlapse, director's view, single take, slow-mo, food, pro, expert raw. You have all these settings, and yeah, like I said, you can go crazy with them to give you the best picture possible. But as far as just point and shoot, fresh out of the box, it's just okay. All right, so the next thing on the list is the S Pen. I do love this new S Pen design. It's slim. The phone does not have an S Pen slot. You have to store this separately, but fortunately enough, Samsung does offer a case that stores this S Pen pretty seamless on the case. But if you're one of those people who like to use your phone without a case, you're kind of out of luck because you cannot store this in here. And also the S Pen itself, it works well, but it's also compatible with the old S Pens. All right, so the next thing, it's not really a gripe, but kind of, are the color options. You don't really get many colors to choose from. I got this little tannish cream white color, which I thought was the best looking for me, but I think it only comes with about 3 or 4 colors. I believe it's black, this cream color, and the icy blue. I don't think it comes in another color unless you get like some kind of a special edition. So I just wish it had a little bit more colors to choose from. And as far as the cases, this is kind of double-edged sword, because most cases for this phone they're bulky. They're pretty bulky, to say the least. So it makes your phone feel a little bit heavier than what it actually is. Most cases don't offer protection for the hinge, which is unfortunate, because you can see the spine of this phone, which is the hinge. It's pretty much exposed all the time. Another thing with the case is that most cases are expensive. Most of these companies, and I've said this before, they think, oh, just because the phone is expensive, we're going to make these cases expensive. I have a couple cases here. I have tons more cases than this, but these are some pretty thin cases. This is the Pitaka case, and this is the Rinky case. Both of these are some of, if not, well, I know the Pitaka ones for sure, but the thinnest cases I do have for this phone. And if you guys have purchased anything from Pitaka in the past, you know their cases are not cheap. So you're running at minimum to get a decent case for this phone, at least $50 to $80. That is way too high for a case. That's unfortunate, because I like to have a lot of cases just to switch up during the week. That is definitely a drawback that I do not like. All right, you guys, this part of the video is sponsored by ByEasy. They have an 8-in-1 Type-C portable hub. Now it has 2 USB Type-A ports, an HDMI connector, an Ethernet connector, an SD and micro SD slot, a audio jack, and more. This is the perfect desktop accessory. The link will be in the description if you would like to pick up this item. Thank you to my friends at ByEasy for providing this product. Let's get back to the video. And the last thing I'll mention about the case is that most cases for this phone, they don't have like a super creative design. I think the Pitaka is the most design heavy one that I have, and that's not saying a lot because it's very minimal. I've had an iPhone for years, and I had so many different variations of cases. These companies get very creative when it comes to making an iPhone, at least, or iPhone case. They have so many designs, colors for them. They're not that expensive, which is a big thing. So I think that would be nice to see it's kind of step in that realm. And I will say it's also easier to open and close this phone with a case on it. So that is a plus, but that also brings me to my last point, which is the build quality. This is still not dust and water resistant. You kind of have a trade-off. You can only get one of those right now. I'm sure in the future it will have both of those, but at least for where we are right now, it does not have both. But the build quality, I think, is pretty solid. This new hinge is very solid. It feels good when you open and close it. It feels very firm. It's like a little snap once you finally get it open. So it feels solid in that position, and also it's pretty easy to close as well. The phone is lighter than the previous models. It may not feel like it to just the eyeball test or the weight test just holding in your hand, but if you're really paying attention, you can kind of feel the slight difference in weight, but the phone itself is pretty solid. I do like the single stack cameras right here. I think that is a very clean and sleek looking look. This phone is very modern, and also with the build quality of this and the design, this thing still starts conversations to this day. There's been several iterations of this phone, and people have seen this in the past. So I figured most people wouldn't be surprised by this phone anymore, but it still starts conversations because how dynamic it is. And every time I open this up, and for people who are just solely iPhone or just solely S24 or the Google Pixel, whatever the case may be, when I open this up, they always say, oh, what phone is that? And I have to kind of give them the history a little bit and kind of let them know, hey, this is a Samsung Galaxy phone. And most people are shocked. They think it's like a Huawei phone or something, but no, it's a Galaxy Z Fold 5. Another thing to note with the build quality of this phone is both displays, the inner display and the outer display, did get a little uptick in brightness. The overall brightness is pretty high. So as you can see right here, if I bring it all the way up, that is what your brightness is looking like. It's so bright. And real world scenarios, when you're out in the sun, is it bright enough? That's the main thing. To me, it's not bright enough. It's brighter than previous models, but it's still not bright enough because I find myself trying to make my brightness go up even higher when I'm out in the sun, realizing that, oh, it's on max brightness and it's still not bright enough, at least for my eyes. Your eyes may be different, but for my eyes, it's not bright enough in the sun. And I live in Florida. I'm in the sun often, so I would like to see on the next model a little kick, or maybe a bigger kick, in overall brightness. Another thing with the build quality is the phone closes completely, or at least almost completely flat. You can barely see through this crack right here, but I do like that it closes almost completely flat. I know that was one thing that consumers in the past kind of notated. They wish that the phone did close completely flat, and Samsung granted that request. So you, in a sense, you can't be, upset with that. But with that phone closing completely flat now, that comes with an issue that I didn't really expect. So without a case, if you're one of those people who like to carry your phone around without a case all the time, or at least sometimes, what I've noticed that with at least bare hands, no case, it makes it a little bit more difficult to open this phone up. So with the case, it's fine because they kind of have little angles and wedges for you to push against with your fingers to open it. But I noticed that without a case, it's kind of hard because you need a anchor point or a leverage point to kind of push against to open this. Granted, I've been using this often, so I'm used to it now. I can open it and close it just fine. And the last thing that I will say about this phone is that the bezels all around are thinner or smaller than the previous version. So let me turn this brightness down so you guys can see. But yes, if you pay attention, the bezels all around are overall smaller. I think it was about 30% smaller for the bezels, 20 or 30%, somewhere around there. So that makes a big difference for your viewing experience. So overall, my conclusion, my 5-month review of this device is that the price is too high. I wish it was about $200 lower. I love the customization. The cameras are just okay. The S Pen design, the new design, is good, but it's unfortunate that there is no S Pen slot. The colors, I wish there were more of them. I do like this color, at least for me, but I wish there were more to choose from. The cases are way too expensive and not as creative as I would like them to be in comparison to its competition, i.e. the iPhone. And the build quality is top tier. I wish it did have water and dust resistance, and I believe we'll eventually get to that. And yes, I wish it was a little bit easier to open this phone with no case. It'd be nice if they kind of designed like a little wedge on the phone to be able to open it a little bit better. I don't think it would take away from the design, but that's just me. But yeah, overall, I love this phone. I'm super happy that I switched back to Samsung after about 2 years or 2.5 years with the iPhone. Let me know your experience with this phone if you do have it, or you've had previous iterations of it, or if you have a different phone, would you consider going to this? So until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.